Today we're going to be cooking Jamaican fried dumpling, and for that you will need 1 cup of flour. I live in Japan, so my flour looks like that, but it's just regular counter flour. So 1 cup of flour, 1/4 teaspoon of salt, 1 tablespoon of sugar. You will also need 1/2 tablespoon of baking powder. You will need some water, and usually you can use cow's milk, you can use soy milk, you can use any kind of milk, but sometimes I use coconut milk. And coconut milk changes the texture of the fried dumpling and also gives it a nice spunk and taste. So that's what I'll be using today to make my Jamaican fried dumpling. And these are the ingredients. Of course, you'll need a bowl to put all the ingredients in. And let's get started. I'm Charmaine, by the way, and I just started my YouTube channel. This is my first official cooking video. And I hope you enjoy this. If you have any problems with the recipe, please leave a comment in the comment section. And if you have any questions, please ask. I'm very open and willing to answer those questions. One of the problems Alright, so I'm measuring out my 1 cup of flour. This recipe serves 1 to 2 persons depending on how much you'd like to eat. Usually for me it makes 6 dumplings, and I usually have 3 dumplings in one go. So you have your 1 cup of flour, your 1/4 teaspoon of salt, quarter teaspoon of salt. You have your 1/2 tablespoon of baking powder. And 1 tablespoon of sugar. Usually people add butter to their recipe, but I find that the texture of the dumpling is much softer without the butter, so I don't add butter. You are going to need some oil to fry the dumpling in at the end of cooking, so that's why it's there. And next, I just mix everything together. All the dry ingredients, I just mix it together. If you'd like, you could sieve the flour and everything else, but for this recipe that's not necessary. Alright, so I like to mix it, and if there are any lumps, I like to just use the back of the spoon to get rid of the lumps. One of the rules of cooking is first you need to make sure that your hands are clean, because most of the times your hand come in contact with the food. If you don't want to touch the food, you can use a wooden spoon or a spatula, but I find that touching the food makes all the difference. As we get to know each other more, you'll get to understand my love for food and how I feel about food and why it is important to caress your food. So the final thing I'm going to add is my coconut milk and water. Okay, so I'm going to add 2 tablespoons of coconut milk, and then I'll add the rest in water. I'm adding 2 tablespoons of coconut milk because coconut milk is usually thick, but you need something lighter, so the water will definitely help to liquefy. Not liquefy, but the water will definitely help to saturate. 2 tablespoons of milk and 2 tablespoons of water. At first, for mixing, the water needs to be cold, so it has to be cold water. All right, again, you could use the back of your spoon for the initial mixing if you would like, and then as the dough becomes thicker and thicker and thicker, you will use your hand in the finished product. So just add water and mix. The process is like kneading flour. If you know how to knead flour, the process is the same. So you just continue to add and mix. So now I'm definitely going to start using my hand. I'm not one to use equipment. I like to touch my food. I like to feel what's going on. I like to talk to my food. I like to have fun with my cooking. If you make a mistake and the dough is too soft, that's not a problem. Just add a little more water and you'll be fine. This dough looks like it is perfect. So as I said, this will serve 1 to 2 persons, depending on how much you'd like to eat. But dumplings are very filling, so for me, I eat out of this 2 times. So, texture of the dough, but it appears as though I need just a tad bit more of water to make sure that everything comes together. This is the part I hate, because every time I add a tad bit more of water, sometimes I go overboard. So, all right, that's my tad bit. And continue to knead your flour until everything comes together. Right. You know that you've done an excellent job when the entire dish that you've used is clean. It has nothing in it, almost as if you don't need to wash it. But of course you need to wash the dish. All right. So as you can see, the dough is very soft. This is what you want. All right. After that, you make a little ball and you just leave it for about 15 minutes for the baking powder and everything to just combine well. You can definitely cover this with a damp cloth. You can use saran wrap. Oh yeah, that's about it. Okay, so the dumpling has rested for more than 15 minutes. My aunt called, so I was talking with her. Still soft and nice. So what I do now is just divide this in 6 pieces. So first I go half, then 1/3, then 1. All right, and again 1/3 and 1/3. I've added corned beef to my table because I'm planning to make corned beef with my fried dumpling. If you would like to see how I do my corned beef, please watch the upcoming video. All right, so roll the flour together and just flatten. All right, roll, flatten. It will gain the volume it wants or needs while it's being fried. So you don't have to worry about the circular motions or making it into a circle. Just flatten it. All right. Of course, if you want bigger dumplings, you know what to do. Just separate your dough smaller and you'll get bigger dumplings. So just roll and flatten. And the final one. Oh, sorry, you're going to need a tester. So just take off a piece and keep it for testing the flour. I'll tell you what to do with that later. So again, just roll. Circular motions in your hand, nothing special. And flatten. All right. So 6 dumplings and a tester. Turn on your stove. Depending on the size of your pot, you would add the oil. I prefer to deep fry my dumplings. I really prefer to deep fry them. So I put enough oil in this pot so that they could be covered. And of course, the smaller the pot, the less oil you will need. Alright. So that's enough oil on a fried dumpling. One trick to getting perfect fried dumpling is to make sure that the oil is at the perfect temperature. And to test if the oil is at the perfect temperature, do you remember the tester that we cut off? I'll be using the tester to do that. In order to test if the oil is hot enough, you drop your tester in, and if it has small bubbles around the edges, you know that the oil is good. So the dumpling should raise itself, and it would also turn over. I hope you saw that. Alright, and then it will float to the top. So my oil is ready. But you have to be very careful with the heat. Right now, the heat is high. So I'm going to turn it down to about medium to fry the dumplings. So I know the heat is hot right now. The heat is very high right now, so I'm turning it down. Low, medium to low, low to medium. And I let the dumplings fry in that kind of environment. I'm just going to be putting them in the pot. So I just want it a little flatter. So I'm using my finger to flatten it, and then I add it to the pot. See the bubbles at the side? Dumpling that's already in the pot. I'm just turning it over for it to be finished on that side. So I'm just going to add another dumpling. You could put all dumplings in the pot at the same time, but just for so add the flour. This is a tester, not needed. So I'm going to just be adding all the dumplings now. What I'm using to turn my dumplings is a cooking chopstick. A cooking chopstick. It's longer than the regular chopsticks, and it's used for cooking. So just add the flour one by one to the oil, and it will do what it does. Okay, each flour will do what it does. So the same pan, the same container you use to fry the dumplings in, you just add a napkin to it. And then once the dumpling is finished frying, you just put it on it. So I'm just going to take this one out. Watch carefully as the dumplings turn on their own. Just watch carefully as they just turn on their own. They'll just pop over. As you notice as well, they're getting their shape. They're no longer flat. They have rounded out. I'm just going to turn on the stove a little bit. Notice how freely the dumplings are moving, so there's enough oil in the pot. Alright, you saw that. There's enough oil in the pot for them to just manage on their own without touching the bottom of the pot. See that? Opening out. Gaining color, taking shape. Alright, you saw that? So basically, as soon as it is finished frying on one side, it will just turn over. Alright. The final one. Alright. So in about 2 to 3 minutes, all the dumplings will be finished. And I'll show you a picture of the final product. Alright, so the dumplings are finished. I'm just going to remove them from the oil and place them in the same container, but with I don't usually throw in my oil. As you can see, the oil is clean and untainted. So I will save this oil to fry more dumplings or to just do other things in the future. Alright, so this is what all the fried dumplings look like. I will let them cool for about 2 to 3 minutes and then show you the center. So this is what the fried dumpling looks like. The inside. This is the final product. I'll be having it with corned beef. Let me know what you think. Let me know how you enjoy your fried dumplings. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe on Cook and Eat, my very first fried dumpling video. Please enjoy.